Hello, welcome to the session on the subject design of machine elements 2, the subject code 18ME62. So, in this session, that is module number 3, that is design of bevel and worm gauge. So, in this session, I will be uh, explaining the introduction part of the worm gauge. So, worm gears or worm gear drives are used to transmit the power between two non-intersecting shafts, or which are generally at right angles or 90 degrees to each other. So, as can be seen from the figure, so a worm gear drive consists of a worm, which is nothing but a threaded screw, and a worm wheel or a worm gear. So the worm is having threads which will mesh with the worm gear, which is similar to that of a helical gear, which is having the teeth. So the teeth on the worm wheel or worm gear will be enveloping the threads on the worm, and they give line contact between the mating parts. So there is a line contact. So what are the advantages of the worm gear drives? First of all, the most important characteristic of this worm gear drives, so why they are used, is because uh, for applications which require high speed reduction, so generally the worm gears are used. So a high speed reduction as high as 100 is to 1 can be obtained with the help of a single pair of worm gears. The first advantage. And generally the worm gear drives are very compact, and their dimensions are small when compared with the equivalent spur or helical gear drives uh, with the same speed reduction. So they are compact. So again, the operation of the worm gears is smooth and silent, uh, no without much noise. So again, provision can be made for self-locking of the gear drives. That means where the motion is transmitted only from the worm to the worm wheel, and not in the opposite direction. So only worm driving the worm wheel. So this type of self-locking is advantageous in applications like cranes, and also the lifting devices and other applications. Coming to the drawbacks or the disadvantages of the worm gear drives. First of all, the efficiency of the worm gear drives is low compared with other type of gear drives. This is because there may be losses due to the gearing, or due to the bearings, or other reasons. So therefore, although the speed they offer good speed reduction, their efficiency is low. Next, uh, in a pair of worm and worm wheel, uh, generally the worm wheel or worm gear is made of the material phosphor bronze. So due to the considerations of wear, so therefore this actually increases the cost of the gear drive. Next, there will be a lot of heat that is generated when they mesh with one another, so which is actually required to be dissipated with the help of maybe a lubricating oil. So this is one consideration. Again, the power transmission capacity, it is low. Uh, they are generally worm gear drives are used for up to only 100 kilowatt of the power transmission. Coming to the terminology of worm gears. So before that, a pair of worm gears is generally specified and designated by the four quantities. So which are nothing but Z1, Z2, small q, and m, small m. So where Z1 refers to the number of starts on the worm, and Z2 refers to the number of teeth on the worm wheel. Small q refers to the diameter quotient. So which is generally given by the pitch circle diameter of the worm to the module. So where m is the module. So this is how the worm gear is designated by these four quantities. So coming to the terminology, first one is axial pitch, which is represented by PC. So this is nothing but defined as the axial pitch PC of the worm is defined as the distance measured from a point on one thread to the corresponding point on the adjacent thread. So when measured along the axis of the worm, so that is known as the axial pitch. So here it may be noted that the axial pitch PC of a worm is equal to the circular pitch, which is denoted by P2 of the mating worm gear. So whenever the shafts are at right angles, so that means when the angle between them is 90 degrees, so the axial pitch of the worm should be equal to the circular pitch of the mating worm gear. Next is the lead. Lead is denoted by L, small l. So it is nothing but the linear distance uh, through which a point on a thread moves ahead in one revolution of the worm. That means when the worm rotates through one revolution, what is the distance or the linear distance parallel to the axis that a point on the thread will move? So that is called as the lead. Now, actually, depending upon the number of starts of the threads that the worm has, so it may be having single start threads, or it may be having more than single, that is multiple start threads, 2 or 3. So for this, for single start threads, lead is equal to the axial pitch, whereas for the multiple start threads, lead will be equal to the product of the axial pitch and the number of starts. This is to be noted. So continuing this, the lead is nothing but L is equal to the pitch, axial pitch, and the number of starts on the thread. So let us take this as equation number 2. Now here the pitch circle diameter of the worm gear or worm wheel is can be written as T2 is equal to M into Z2, where M is the module. So let's take this as equation number 3. So now let us refer to this particular figure wherein we have the worm gear and the worm uh, as can be seen. So here the diameter D1 is the physical diameter of the worm, D2 refers to the physical diameter of the worm gear, and A refers to the center distance between the shafts. So referring to this, the axial pitch of the worm, as we discussed, it should be equal to the circular pitch of the worm wheel. So that is PC should be equal to P2. So we have the PC, which is nothing but P2. Sorry, P2 can be given by the expression pi D2 by Z2. So we can write this expression in place of P2. So again we can write D2 as M into Z2. So therefore here we can see the we can write this the axial pitch PC as pi into m. So let us take this as equation number 4. So from equation numbers 2 and 4, so equation number 2 is L is equal to PC into Z1 we have, and equation number 4 is PC is equal to pi into M. So therefore if we substitute in place of PC as pi into M, so we are going to get this expression L is equal to pi M Z1. Let's take it as equation number 5. So now referring to this figure, when one of the thread of the worm is developed, it becomes the hypotenuse of a triangle as shown in the figure B here. So where the base of this triangle will be equal to the lead of the worm, so this one, and the altitude or the height is equal to the circumference of the worm, that is this particular distance. So that is pi d1. The altitude is pi d1 and this base is equal to the lead of the worm. So now there are two angles which are related to this particular triangle. First of all, one is the lead angle and the another is called as the helix angle, which we are going to see in the coming slides. Lead angle. So lead angle is defined as the angle between a tangent to the thread at the pitch diameter and a plane normal to the worm axis. So it is uh, indicated by this particular symbol. So here is the lead angle shown. So it is nothing but the angle between a tangent to this thread and a plane which is normal to the axis of the worm. So from this figure we can see that we can write tan of this angle as L by pi d1, which as we can see from this. So let's take it as equation number 6. Now if we see the equation number 1 and 5, so where we have L is there is nothing but the lead, which is given by pi m z1, and also in equation number 1 we had q is equal to d1 by m, the diametral quotient. So therefore d1 can be written as q into m. So therefore here these are all will cancel. So therefore we can write tan of this angle as z1 by q. Next, coming to the helix angle denoted by beta. So here helix angle is defined as the angle between a tangent to the thread at the pitch diameter to the and the axis of the worm. So this is, we can see here the angle between this tangent to this thread and the axis of this worm. So this is denoted by beta. So again we can observe that the worm helix angle is nothing but the complement of the worm lead angle. That is, if we add the lead angle plus the helix angle, that will be equal to pi by 2 or 90 degrees. So next is pressure angle, which is denoted by alpha. So the two pressure angle alpha is measured in a plane that is containing the axis of the worm, and it is equal to 1/2 of the thread angle. So again the pressure angle should not be less than 20 degrees for single and double start worms, and should not be less than 25 degrees for triple and multiple start worms. So the center distance for worm gear drive is denoted by small a is equal to half into d1 plus d2. So where d1 and d2 refers to the pitch circle diameter of the worm and worm gear respectively. Let's take it as equation number 7. So now let us substitute the equation number 1 and 3 in the above expression. So we have equation number 1 given by q is equal to d1 by m, where q is the diametral quotient. So therefore we can write d1 as q into m. So let's substitute that over here, as well as d2 can be written as m into z2, where m is now taken outside over here. So let us represent this by equation number 8. So it is to be noted that So when the worm wheel is rotated through one revolution, so the worm will complete Z2 number of revolutions when it is having single start threads. So that is whenever the worm wheel rotates through one revolution, the worm will complete this much number of revolutions when it is having single start threads. And for double start threads, the number of revolutions of the worm will be equal to half of that, that is Z2 by 2. And also it should be noted that the pitch diameter of a worm is not a function of its number of threads, that is Z1. So here the speed ratio I is therefore given by I is equal to Z2 by Z1. It's not given by the ratio D2 by D1 in the case of worm gear drives. So this is about the velocity ratio.